Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you guys are having a good week. This is one of those fun weeks where it's short, so you feel like you work 4 days and you get another weekend. So gotta love having a Monday off. So I hope you're all having a good week so far. I know I am. It's beautiful here in Iowa. So welcome to Thursday and the live with Susan today. Let me check and see if there's any comments that you're all joining me, or someone at least is joining me. Many of you know me. My name is Susan. I work here at the TE Studios and do different card designs and product development and the lives every other Thursday. So welcome. Thanks for joining me. Good morning. This is where I go. I have to check. Some of these I can't read. Marcia and Deb and Rachel and Sarah, thank you all for joining me. Yes, there's names that show up in red on our screen, and for some reason they're hard to read. The blue ones I can see just fine, like Terry and Sandra. Good morning. Thanks for joining me. I hope you guys are enjoying your short work week, or maybe some people took the whole rest of the week off, which would be so much fun. So what are you all up to? Good morning. Good morning from SoCal and Indiana and Michigan. You guys are all over the place. I just love it. In Illinois, I saw an Illinois go by, in California. Thanks for hopping on with me today. I hope you joined Taylor on Tuesday. She talked about the kit because it is the last week of the month, right? So you have the snail mail kit. So stinking cute. There's a few more of them left. I don't know that they'll last through the weekend, maybe not even the next couple of days, but if you've been waiting, these are still available. The entire bundle one is still available even. So grab yours. I think it's cute. If you can go back, if you missed Taylor on Tuesday, she did an adorable little set of cards with some bright, unique colors. I said to her I really enjoyed her color choices and how she picked those. So good morning. Can't wait for your snail kit to arrive. Yes, that would be anticipation, right? I just pick my stuff up when I'm here. So I still need to order the snail kit. I haven't gotten to it yet. I've had a busy week. Whitney told me to get on that. If I want one, I've got to grab it today. So hello from Texas. Good morning, everyone in Kansas. I love the sunflowers. I love it. It is a gorgeous time of the year here. I hope it is where you are at. Everything's so green here. We have all of our spring flowers blooming. It's great. So yes, I do have tea to spill today. I'll share that with you guys on the end. But again, if you were on the fence at all about the snail kit, grab that before it's gone. And yeah, today we're going to talk a little bit about a product that was with our combo or our club from last summer. Is now on our website for everyone to enjoy. We have been sprinkling some of those in, but to you guys, some of you have seen this, but if you weren't a part of our kit, you haven't seen it. I'm going to work with this. It's a new product that is on our website. It's called Filigree in Flight, and it's just a beautiful, simple butterfly that I feel like is a great size for techniques. So that's what we're going to work on today. So let's get to it. I'll switch you down, and you can see my desk and my glasses that I needed a minute ago. This is what we're going to talk about. I know we've shared in the past that you can put color on our glitter cardstock. I'm using our white glitter cardstock today. You can add color to it. And the other day I thought, I don't know, maybe someone's already done this, but I hadn't done it. I thought how fun it would be to take a stencil and get that color on there. So that's what I'm going to work with today. And I do have an A and B choice here. Tell me if you like it as a full card, just like this. Just your normal traditional, so we'll call that traditional top folding card. Do you like that? Or as I was waiting for us to get started today, I was like, I wonder if I could make this into a more of a unique fold. So we'll call this one unique or different. A card that kind of brings the front to the inside, and but nothing super earth-shattering about it, but I was just kind of playing around with cardstock. So chime in and let me know if you want me, when I go to finish off this card, if you want me to do something a little bit unique, or go with their traditional top fold. I just didn't know if this brings enough to the inside of the card, because I would just probably add my sentiment here. So try them off so that I know which way I should go with that. But back to this, we're going to talk about ink blending on the glitter cardstock. The one thing that I find, the thing I find the most is that go with brighter colors than you think you want, because when you ink blend on here, it ends up being a little bit muted. So I have a sample here. So this is the one I cut up for this card, so you can see this. And I'm gonna save all of this for other things. I a lot of times like to cut a strip and put it on the inside of my card, which we can still do today. This one, I tried to knock down some of the color by going over the top of each of these sections to kind of bring in the color into the cardstock. But I felt like then it wasn't as bright. Can you see that? Here, let me grab some white cardstock. I felt like, so if you want something a little lighter, that's the way I would go, is to knock that down a little bit. Okay, I guess it looks like we're doing a fun fold, so I will make it that way. It was really not hard, super easy. Yep, that's what we'll do. Don't even have to chime back in anymore. It seems like that's what everyone wants. So, but again, use something, go brighter than you think. So my colors are dragon fruit. I actually don't have an orange that I'm using. I just use the colors the way they blend together with lemon meringue. You know what? I'm going to say mango. Let's go mango, because I'm pretty sure that's what I used. I just brought my lemon meringue over if I thought this was looking a little too orange. Cookie Monster and dried fig. So those are the colors that I used to create this blend, and that's what we'll get into. And I will do the unique one. It seems like that's where everyone's going. I just didn't know if it was like enough of a unique fold to mess with it. So you could choose to die cut your butterfly wing down first, but like I said, I will usually take this extra piece that's here and I will do something with it, whether it's to cut a heart to go on the inside. There's not a lot of real estate that's left, so it's really each to their own what they would rather do. But a lot of times I like to take at least part of this, and I think it's really fun to add it just to the inside of your card, just to bring the outside of your card in. So let me glue that down, but I will end up using this. But if you choose, you'll want to cut it down before if you want to have less of this extra going on. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue this down just while I've got it. I always try to do something fun with the extras. And yes, this new bottle of Barely Arts glue, man, it's almost not new anymore. I feel like it's almost gone again. So I will always take those little bits and add them. I give myself room for the fold, so I will cut this little bit of extra off here on the end. But yep, I always try to save those. Even the little bit that I had on the top corner, I'll take that and use it for hearts or something else later on. But that brings the outside of the card in. So let's start with that. So I'll just take a sheet of our white glitter cardstock. I feel like this stuff is what I go through the most of my cardstock. Probably this one and maybe the gold I go through the most. But it's so fun. It's die cuts like a dream. I don't find I have any issues with die cutting it. So I have two that I use today, so I just wanted to point them both out to you. This one is the Swirly Rose, which if any of you, I believe it was Spring Stamp Joy, the virtual one, we did use this one. So if you joined us for that, we used the mini slim Swirly Rose. And then this one is called Pretty Petals. And we like to use that one a lot too. I'm pretty sure we used that one for one of the in-person Stamp Joys. So some of our favorites, but that's what I used for this one. And then this one was the Swirly Roses. And I like how much color this one gave me. So that's the one I'm gonna go with today. I just wanted you to know what both of them were. Anything that gives you just some real estate to see your color. It doesn't even matter if it's a repeating pattern or not. They all turn out really cool because your cuts will land in different spots on all of them. So So I'm going to grab this. I will say this, I might trim off just a little bit of this one because that edge doesn't end up getting blended anyway. So then I would just hate to just get ink over there. So let me trim off just like a 1/2 inch here. I'm going to go 3/4 of an inch because we can save that for something else. But this gives me the real estate that I need. Doesn't really matter how it's lined up. I do choose to tape on the back of my stencils. They're both beautiful. Someone said beautiful stencils. I agree. They are two of my favorite. I like just going to, on our website, you can go under stencils and there's single layer stencils. And that's where usually I look around to see what kind of inspiration, because I feel like single layer stencils are really great for techniques and things like that. So I use them quite often. And I'm going to correct myself here. I always start with my yellow. One, it's my lightest color. Two, I don't want to contaminate the brush with the other ink that ends up landing up on top of my stencil. So when I go to blend, I'm going to end up with ink that's still setting up there, which is actually a beautiful thing because I will grab some of it to kind of get that orange that you see. But like I said, I didn't grab an orange ink pad. You totally could if that's what you wanted to do. I just embraced how the dragon fruit and the mango came up over top of each other. The green, I just kind of let play between the mango and the Cookie Monster. Anyway, but I start with the yellow just because that sets up there. Plus, I find whatever color is my lightest, I usually lose, if that makes any sense. Like, I will blend it on here, and then I find that before I know it, I've taken over with my other colors. So I try to go pretty wide with my light color, which is usually yellow if I'm doing some sort of rainbow blend. So I'm going to go in through the middle here, and I know I have 4 colors, but my yellow is going to take up way more than 1/4 of my cardstock because I want the pink to the yellow to blend, and I want my yellow tone, which is mango, to Cookie Monster to become a green. So if you see here, there's not much of it showing here, but it's because I always seem to take over. So I do the yellow first, which is mango, and then we'll grab some dragon fruit, which use with caution because dragon fruit will really take over your yellow in a hurry. So I try to start up in the corner. And again, dragon fruit, you all know how bright it is. It really turns out a little more muted when it comes to being on top of here. And I do want to bring that down over top of that mango because it will blend into a beautiful orange. Sorry, making sure I didn't miss anything. Awesome. I think I got you all. And like I said, I'm going to make sure we do try the little bit more unique. I'm going to go over here just to make sure I hit some of that yellow. Okay, now we'll move to the Cookie Monster, and I can already see I haven't left myself a lot of space for my dried fig, but we'll get it in there. And then this again is Cookie Monster. And I'm going to let that Cookie Monster kind of go over top of my yellow. The other thing about working on this glitter cardstock is it's really forgiving for blends. Like if you wanted to just blend one color into another and you struggle with getting a line or getting big spots where your brush is, glitter cardstock is so forgiving. It really will give you a lot of space to, it gives you a lot of forgiveness is what I should say, because it really kind of lets the ink set up there and kind of move around and really is forgiving. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna go like this, just a smidge. I feel like I almost lost my yellow there. Yep, I think I'm good. And if you're at all ever worried about the little bit of yellow I could have gotten on my brush, this is what I like to do. I take my microfiber cloth, spritz it with just a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and then I take my brush and brush it on there, because two things. One, if I just do a couple of spritzes, it's not going to make my brush really wet. I can go ahead and use it right away. And I feel like if you ever have a crunchy brush, this is what I do too, is I will just spritz just a little bit on my microfiber cloth, because then I'm not getting any rubbing alcohol down in here where it's glued together, which you don't want to do. This is just going after the end of those bristles. And like I said, not a lot, just a little bit. And then I find an area that's dry and finish kind of working at that brush. It'll get any of that little bit of pink or teal that I might have had on my brush off. Plus it also kind of cleans your brush a little bit. And the thing I like about just doing a couple of spritzes on my microfiber cloth is it doesn't make your brush wet so that you can't use it right away again. It'll be ready to go. I've done it. So let's move on to the dried fig. But I felt like that brought my yellow back up on top just a little bit. We'll come in with our dried fig, and I will take that over top of the Cookie Monster. It makes a beautiful color in the middle. Just I don't know if you'd call it periwinkle or just something that's a little more reflective of blue. But like I said, I feel like you can't mess it up on this glitter cardstock. Even if you get a swatch that's splotchy or looks heavy, if you just take your brush and go back over it a few times, it's just that it doesn't have anywhere to soak into right away. It takes it a minute to dry. So I do think it's very forgiving. I know I did one where I had something that was kind of like a heavy teal into my yellow. Can't remember which one of these cards it was, but I just took my brush over the yellow and kind of worked it a little bit, and it worked it right in, and it was just fine. All right, I'm gonna take that blue and do the same thing I did. I wanna bring my teal back to the top here. I can even wipe this off if I want to. And I will use these right away again. We're gonna use them for my little flowers. So, and then the reveal, and I'm telling you guys, I was creating this card and I had already created the one with the pretty petals. And then when I did this and I peeled this off, I was like, maybe I don't want to die cut it. So I'll be really interested to see what you guys do with it instead, because this is just beautiful. I just thought it was so pretty. I was like, maybe I'm done right here. But my intention was to use this pretty new die. So I couldn't help myself though. I wanted to stop here really badly. So we're gonna let that set. I usually just try to give it a little bit of time to dry if I can. I don't usually find that I need to hit it with a heat tool or anything, but I just like to let it set and dry, because if you think about it, this is glitter cardstock. It's got more of like a non-porous feeling backer to it. So I kind of try to let it set just a little bit to dry. Plus it'll give me time to clean up my stencils. Yeah, isn't that kind of, would you call that a periwinkle through there? April said it's one of her favorite colors. I agree. I especially love it in, if you can find it in little flowers. We have some shade-loving plants in my yard that put off beautiful green leaves that you get all year long, and these periwinkle, just teeny tiny little flowers that pop up during the spring. They're my favorite. One of my favorite. We have a lot of shade in my yard. I don't get to have peonies and daffodils and tulips and everything that likes the sun. So isn't that pretty? I'd love that you guys agree with me. It's kind of hard to like decide to cut it. So the other thing that we're going to do is, I think Taylor might have done something with these recently. The Rainbow and Bloom is a die set, and I adore the flowers that are in here. I like that you get 3 sizes of flowers and you get 2 of each size. So they're really fun to work with. I believe those were with a combo club back in the day also, if I remember correctly. So I took from this die set, the Filigree and Flight, I cut the body out of oyster cardstock ahead of time, but I am going to ink blend that a little bit. And then again, we'll need this die in a minute. But some of the things, while I'm just letting that give a moment to rest, I'm going to take the oyster and we will kind of give that, that body of the butterfly a little depth. I feel like all the time die cutting now, I almost always feel like I ink blend my die cuts a little bit, just because I feel like it gives them some life and some dimension so they don't look so flat. Now the antennas, make sure that you just I just swipe up on them just so I don't bend them or anything. This reminds me, okay, so I was away on Mother's Day. My husband really loves to travel. And we were away for Mother's Day, and my girls wanted a makeup Mother's Day, and they did that for me on Sunday. They took me out to brunch, and they wanted to go to a garden place here called Ryman Garden in Ames. It's part of the university there at Iowa State, and they have a butterfly room because my girls know I love it. I don't know. Are you guys in for being around live butterflies, or do they freak you out? My girls, when they were little, absolutely hated that room. I don't know. Have you ever been in one where when you walk in, you can't wear anything that you're going to take off, or any big bags or long gowns, because the butterflies could actually be where you're walking. So, but I adore it. And on Sunday we were there, and the butterflies were very happy because the sun was coming in and they were just flying everywhere. It was fun. I don't know. Do you guys like stuff like that? I'd be curious, because I think it's one of those things you either like them fluttering by you, like I had several of them land on me or on top of my head. Some people hate it. I love it. Okay, so this was my original layout. So all I did was I decided if I was going to do this way I could make a couple. I made a Cookie Monster card base, top folding, and then I just took it, so this would have been my Cookie Monster card base, and I cut it in half, which would be 2 1/8. That will give me this hinge right here. So that's all you need to do for that. If you have a guillotine, you could leave it folded. If you don't, like this one, I'm just going to take it and cut it at 2 1/8. So that way I have 2 cards I can create ready to go, because I tell you, once you start blending on this glitter cardstock, you won't want to stop. So at the Detroit Zoo, you love it. I love that. She says there's one at the Detroit Zoo. I love it. There's also one at the Omaha Zoo, Henry Doily. I love that one too. And I remember when my girls were little, they hated it, and I just didn't understand. And there was a little girl at this one this weekend, and she looked like she was, I don't know, probably 9 or 10, and she was petrified. So I was like, yeah, I remember those days. Poor thing. Because I enjoy it so much. I had one that just kept coming back to land on me. The girls said it must like my perfume or something, but I don't wear perfume. Must have liked my hairspray or something like that. So this main background piece, so we've got these pieces, and then the only other thing that I need is just a 1/4 sheet of cardstock. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So this will go on there, and this will be my hinge thing. If you wanted it to open again, you totally could. You could use a card base here and just use a strip of the Cookie Monster. So this would be 2 1/8 by 5 1/2 if that's what you wanted to do, if you wanted it to open twice. I just wanted the once, so will go here. And go ahead and glue that and let that, put my magnet on that to dry. I love it. Someone mentioned the milkweeds, and we do that too. We, for years, I did a butterfly tent, and it's like tall. You can stand up in it. I think it's 6 by 7 or something. But we had a storm here in Iowa several years ago that took my butterfly tent out, and we've never replaced it. But we would release between 75 and 150 butterflies every year. We had a group here locally that would give you little caterpillars, and you just had to let them grow and hatch and have milkweed for them to eat. So it was fun. I put this in the wrong spot. I can't use my die cut machine. I'll move this out of the way. There we go. I need to bring my die cut machine in. No, so now we actually plant milkweed, and we would pull it out of the garden and everything else, and now here I am planting it, right? Any embossing folder would work. You could even take your score pal and make score lines in this, but I chose the cross stitch. There's plenty, which it's a regular embossing folder. It's not 3D. So I just need my regular sandwich, which is taking that main base out line this up because the cross stitch does kind of show if you're crooked. So I try to line it up centered in the middle and left to right as far as the way the cross stitches land. So you take out that main thin plate and then you use 2 of your cutting plates. Send that through your machine. I always do my hinge first if you're like that. Oh, Karen, you stopped at the Omaha Zoo. I am telling you, I've been to a lot of places and a lot of zoos, and the Omaha Zoo is our all-time favorite. Even though we live 2.5 hours away, when my girls were little, we even went there. We were members, is what I meant to say. Even back when my girls were little, we were members there because we would go there so much. We'd even go in the middle of winter because there's so many indoor things to do. We love the Omaha Zoo. So there's just a lot to do there. Okay. I'm glad that you shared that because we loved that for years. I guess it's probably been at least 7 years since we've been there, but love it. So I want this on the outside and we're going to want this on the inside. So I'll go ahead and get this all centered up here. I might pop this up just because I like a little bit of extra dimension. So let me grab some of my thin tape here. See if I can fit 2 side by side. I'm not sure I can because I obviously don't want my foam tape sticking off the edge. So if you went to the Omaha Zoo, were the butterflies good? Like I asked the gal when we were there on Sunday, like, what's the reason I've never seen them so active? And she said it's because we had a few cloudy days that we finally had a sunny day. And she said the butterflies were just active because of that. So kind of fun. But again, I know it's not for everyone. It's not everyone's jam to have them flying past your head. I hope I have more people who say they love it. I don't know if the sound, not sure what I can do. Hopefully bear with me and you won't have to hear me blabbering, I guess. I'll try to go slow with some of my stuff so that it all makes sense. Okay, so we have about 1/4 inch around all 4 sides here. And then this is 5 by 3 3/4 is what that cross stitch area was. Then we will take the other piece that goes below, and you could have done this first, whichever one works for you. This is just the way I choose to do it. So I will take my liquid glue, put a little bit on the back of there. You could use tape runner, whatever you like to use. And then I will just hold this behind this piece so that I get that all lined up, because if this is lined up, this bottom piece should be lined up. And if I use liquid glue, oh no, sound is good for some people and not others. I'm very sorry. So I'll at least show you how I'm holding this. Maybe if I do some extra things, if you guys can still see me, that's a good sign. I'm not sure, we don't even have weather here today. And that will get that behind there just perfectly. You can peek and make sure it's straight and everything the way you want, because if you use liquid glue, you have a smidge of wiggle room, which I felt like that looked a little crooked. There we go. So there we go. And that's how you get your inside to the outside. So someone else is saying they must have gone out and then back in. Try doing that. If someone could type that, that would be great. I know someone kind of did, but yeah, if you can go back out and come back in. It's kind of like the other day, my camera on my phone was not working, so I just turned it off, turned it back on, and we were all good. So we'll set this aside for now. I can walk through, if you guys tell me when the sound is good again, I'll walk through how I did that again. We'll grab my die so we can cut this. I wanted my butterfly to have the pink at the top, so you want to pay attention to that. And I kind of like, that's another reason why I liked using a whole piece, because I have a little bit of choice as to where this ends up landing on my design. if I wanted to straighten it up and have just more pink at the top, whatever. It's completely up to you, but that gives me the ability to kind of move it around a little bit. So let's put that on there and we'll bring in our die cut machine. How's the sound doing? No issues. Someone's saying, refresh your page, try that. Maybe it's a part of the country thing. Let's go ahead and we'll die cut this. Like I said, I've never had issues with any ink coming off, but it just doesn't hurt to let it set for a minute. If you don't have time to let it set, I would probably put a piece of like printer paper on top of here just in case there is a little bit of ink, because this is that glitter paper is a little bit of a non-porous surface. It's not completely plastic, but it just doesn't give the ability for things to sink in and dry as quickly. So you can even see on my tape, I don't have any ink coming off on my tape or my fingers. That would be a really good sign that it was really wet. But I just let it set aside while I do the rest of the card. Seems to work perfectly for me. Okay, let me get isn't that pretty? Poke out all these little things. This happens to probably be my favorite stencil we have at TE and my favorite one on this butterfly, go figure. It just turns out so pretty and gives me a lot of color. So we'll grab that, clean that off. All right, then we'll add our butterfly body. And I choose to just put a little bit right here, and we will have to hold that down with a magnet for a minute. I really need to put on my glasses. I always try to struggle. Sound is back now. Okay, and I will kind of circle back to that card base just so it all makes sense to everyone if you were struggling with the sound. I'm going to tip the body down just a little bit here. So we'll let that set to dry for a minute. Back to this. So again, all it was a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 sugar cube piece. Then this would be a Cookie Monster card base cut in half, or 2 1/8 by 11 scored at 5 1/2. But I just did a regular Cookie Monster card base so that I can make 2 cards. And then this is just slightly smaller. I wanted a chunkier edge for this. And this was Cookie Monster, and this is Saltwater Taffy. And that is 5 by 3 3/4. So that is what that creates. And again, I just pick one, whether you want to glue down this inside piece or the outside piece, and then use the other one to layer on top. That way, because you can see this whole edge on this side to line it up. And I do like that. I think putting some foam tape here helped me feel like it was more sturdy and more substantial. If you wanted, you could always take and add another piece to the inside or a solid piece. Completely up to you. I don't really think this looks that bad, so I'm gonna leave it because I feel like it mimics what was on the front to the inside. So there's that. Our butterfly should be dry by now. And my butterfly, I really wanted it to adhere and be loose kind of on the edges, just so you feel like you have a little bit of some movement to mine. So I'm just going to glue the butterfly down and towards the center. I'm not going to glue the whole thing. Oh, I have one more piece. Did you see that? That's not popped out. Get rid of that. I'm going to turn on, if you hear beeping, I'm going to turn on my Mink machine because I need that for my sentiment. Go to 3. I turned it way too far up. So I'm just going to add the glue just to the center part here of my butterfly. I want our sentiment will hold down some parts of the wing, but I wanted to just kind of let that be loose a little bit. And I want room for my sentiment up here, so we'll do that. I'm gonna grab this one. Hold this down for a minute, and we can work on those flowers. So I think I started to say, and then punted and walked away from it. The Rainbow in Bloom, I'm gonna use the little flowers from that. So we'll take those, and I already pre-die cut them out of sugar cube cardstock, But I do love that there's 3 sizes in this set of flowers. So we've got 1, 2, maybe I didn't even cut out the big one. I didn't cut out the largest one, but I need 2 big and 2 small. We'll take those. I'm going against my whole rules of 3. Normally I always say you have to do 3 of everything, but I did go against that today. And I like to take just a little bit of tape runner on the back of them just so I can ink blend them and keep them in place. I like to just use sugar cube, mainly because you could use the matching cardstock if you chose. That would absolutely work. Sound is better now. Good. I'm glad to hear it. I would love to hear about the card base again. Let me see if I can circle back to that one more time at the end. Because I did try to do it twice, or did you hear my second one? That would be my question. So I like, being this is already blended, I like to have my flowers blended. And it's a lot easier just to go ahead and ink blend them in, or die cut them in sugar cube and then ink blend them. I'm gonna try to just take my brush because I have color from earlier. This is the dried fig. I'm just going to see if that's gonna be enough because I do want to keep these light in tone. I don't want them super dark because actually when I was working on this card I got some that were too dark and I felt like they took away from my focal, which is the butterfly. So light in tone. I didn't, as you saw, I didn't add any ink, didn't even grab my dried fig. So we'll try with the Cookie Monster. This one I might need because I feel like I didn't get too heavy-handed. No, this is going all right. I did put a little bit of repositionable tape on the back of these flower die cuts just to kind of help hold them in place. I'm using my finger though also. There we go. I don't want to get too dark. I'm thinking about getting it too dark. I'm going to try to avoid this area just because I know I have other colors there. So let's go over here to my mango. And this is why I did grab lemon meringue and my buttercream just in case I needed it. But let's see if I can get a light hand here with my mango, because then everything will match. I think I'm doing all right. And you could use smaller brushes if you wanted to for this, absolutely. I just so happened to already have these out because we were using them. So let me just tap. I just need a little bit of mango. I don't want to get too much on there. It's just a fun way to not have to get out every single piece of cardstock and line that all up. I just tossed all 4 dies because there's enough to do 1 pass in that set. I love that when we do that. We give you a few more extras to be able to die cut without having to go through your machine several times. Still don't feel like it's getting closer. Mango scares me sometimes. It's kind of bright, so I didn't want to overdo it, but now I'm underdoing it, right? I'm always envious of Taylor and Heather with their bold, bright blends. Mine end up being so light in color. And so last but not least is my dragon fruit. And I will say this, you can tell, is not dragon fruit. And that's because I went ahead and just brought in my strawberry milkshake because I just didn't trust. I didn't really trust that I was going to be able to keep that dragon fruit light. So when I did it originally, so I'm gonna wipe some of that dragon fruit off again. I haven't misted this microfiber cloth yet. I just wanted to get a little bit of that color off. I'm gonna avoid, I don't know that I can avoid my yellow. I don't want orange. Let's try to go very light-handed with that strawberry milkshake. You could grab Cupcake if you grabbed a lighter brush too than what I grabbed. I just went ahead and cleaned off the dragon fruit a little bit. There's my colors. And you could, I'm sure if you tried, just think light, light, light as you're doing it. Okay, great. Thank you, Rachel, for saying that. She said she heard me the second time, so I won't go over the card base again. Thank you, I appreciate that. So let's go ahead and put these down. The bottom ones I put down flat. the ones that are on the top, I put a little dimension behind. And I will put my little things in the middle. It's up to you which way you want to go first. I just choose to, you know what? Someone's going to call me out on this. I need to fully clean my work surface here, and I will do that. I don't want the back of my card bases to be dirty, so let me clean this quick. That would be bad after all that work to have the back look dirty. There we go. I love the glass board for this reason, just cleans it up. I used to really, really love using the pieces of large paper, and I still do sometimes, but I have caught a few times where I can even pick up that ink off of the paper, especially like if it's like a bright color. So I do love the work surface because then it's like totally clean. Once you use your little spray bottle of alcohol and a microfiber cloth, it is clean and ready to go. All right, I'm gonna get a little piece of foam tape for this one. I won't go far with that though. I'm gonna need it again. All right, just a little backing on that one. And yes, I do need to put my little pieces. So I don't have the packaging for the dried fig one, but I have the enamel dots in the lemon meringue and strawberry milkshake and Cookie Monster. So that is what will go in the center of my flowers. And being these looked cute with a big dot in the middle, I just went ahead and used them because I find that I have the medium and the large most of the time left over. So something for you to think about. You could use the smaller ones, but I don't know about you, but my small ones usually seem to go and get used first. I should grab my little pick and place tool. Gives me a way to look at it without having my finger in the way. You know what? I like the medium-sized ones. I'm going to go back. There we go. So that was Cookie Monster and the dried fig. And then these two will be my strawberry milkshake, which I like better because I think on this one I used cupcake and I like the strawberry milkshake better. I just remember thinking I didn't like that. It was so light in comparison to my dragon fruit. So if you notice that they're different, they are. But I did that on purpose because I wanted to see if I liked it better. So there's my lemon meringue and my strawberry milkshake enamel dots. Let me grab this. I did the smaller ones, the popped up ones for both. And my mink is beeped, so we're ready to go with the sentiment. And again, the unique fold that I did, having extra is good because the sentiment I'm going to do produces a lot of extras too. So do some Bearly Arts glue in the middle there. I especially when I'm gluing on top of an embossing folder background, I do really like to use liquid glue. Oh, I did these opposite. Is anyone watching? I did them opposite this time. Small versus the little bit bigger flower, but that's okay. Might actually like it better. Oh, thank you, was someone asking. This is saltwater taffy. Yep, and this is Cookie Monster. Yep, you are absolutely right. Thanks for sharing. Sometimes I look up and then no one needs me, and then the next time when I'm not paying attention, there we go. And that gives you that unique opening. So let's get the sentiment on there. And I have to tell you guys, this is probably my most favorite thing that we have done is these stamps where you get a whole bunch of things. We have it in thanks also, the All Together Happy. And I know we have thanks. I don't know. What else do we need? I just love them. So you have the stamp, and the stamp matches up. So if you're not into foiling, stamp this, emboss it in silver. And I love that the die has the registration like marks so that you can die cut it and make sure it's all lined up perfectly. You could emboss it if you would like. I, as you know, love foiling, Just makes my life so easy. So I have the foilet that coordinates with this, all together happy. So I'm going to grab that, and it's beautiful. If you are just want a bunch of black sentiments, you can die cut this. You don't have to foil it. So don't think you have to take these and foil them. They're just ready to go. So you might as well just enjoy the fact that they're a really nice, solid, a little bit glossy black. If you're not into foiling, they're still really helpful. Really easy, quick thing to add. So I have a little piece of extra foil I got to get rid of here. So this is our silver foil. I think this would also be look good with black, or if you wanted champagne. I chose silver just because of that oyster that I used for the body of the butterfly. That's the reason why I went that direction. And because I just had a lot of pastels, light pastel colors. So if you guys have seen me do this before, I like to take a Swiffer, mainly because I have had it, and you've heard me say it before, I've had it where I end up with just a little itty bitty piece of care or cardstock or something. So it's my best way of trying to make my foiling perfect. So we've got our carrier, which this is our carrier. And I always put the fold side in first. I used one of our TE Magic Shims. Then it goes the cardstock with the toner up, and then the dull side of the foil on top of that, facing your toner print, and then the silver or your shiny side up. And then run that through my machine. Ours, a 3 works. Really kind of depends on your machine. For us here, 3 works, and it's perfect. At home, mine is a 3 too. Or also, if I use any of the Happy Medium or Glitter Grab or any of that stuff, I sometimes can go down a notch, but I usually... What stencil did I use? That was the Swirly Rose. Thank you for asking, because it happens to be literally my favorite thing. The Mini Slim Swirly Roses. Sorry. I left... The other one was the Pretty Petals. This one, if that one happens to be on this one, that's Pretty Petals. Yours is a 4. It really kind of depends on the machines, really, truly. So, yeah. So we'll let that run through and turn it off. Something I do like to do is I like to let mine cool. Lets me warm up my hands too. I don't know if the rest of you are like me with that. I do think letting it cool makes a difference. I also just really like warming up my hands. So I turn my machine off. And we'll peel this up. Isn't that beautiful? See, I must have had something. Even though I did it, I can see the little itty bitty piece of dirt or fleck that I have right there. But I don't need that one. It's okay. Every once in a while that happens. And I swear I swiped it, but static cling is static cling, right? So let's line this up. And these registration marks are meant just to be centered in those squares. And I also just use my eyes to make sure that everything inside of here is lined up, looks straight. And then when I tape, I try not to tape on any of the foiled areas. Like this one won't go down in. I just don't want it to pull that part up. So we'll run that through my die cut machine. And we will have all these extras. So, and like I said, I took a Cookie Monster card base that I had cut in half for our edge. So you'll have 2 cards easily ready to go. And like I said, once you start ink blending on that sugar cube glitter cardstock, kind of hard to stop. So run that through. I'm just gonna poke out the ones that I want here. I want the happy, hello. I'm trying to think what else. Happy for you would be a pretty one too. Happy hello. I like that there's 2 hellos because I happen to use those the most. The other day I had to send a thank you note and happy hello, and then I put a little insider that said thank you in there. So I think this one would look really cute too. Maybe we should use this one. It's a little bit bigger. Might be too big. I think I still like my skinny happy. But I like them also. I like them either way, whichever one you choose to go with. That biggest happy on the bottom might be a little too big, but the rest of them would be great. This one, I wanted to make sure I told you before I forgot. That one, the fluttering by to say thank you, which I think turns out super cute, is from our mini slim fluttering by. So if you were at all curious about that, let me grab this. And these I used a little bit of foam tape behind them, not much, just to kind of pop them up, gives a little bit more interest again. Grab my tape, or my scissors, and some of my foam tape. This is the 1/32, as you guys know, my favorite thing. Use it all the time. Yes, thank you all for tuning in, and we're getting close to spilling the tea. So let's do that. I think I might just choose my happy hello again. I use them so much. Wonder if I need a butterfly card for anyone's birthday that's a butterfly enthusiast as I am. Did anyone say? I don't think. Did anyone say if they're scared of them? I know some people don't like birds, so butterflies might not be too far off. All right, let's add this happy to the back. You know what the really cool thing about using that cross stitch embossing folder is I know it's straight on there, so I can use that cross stitch line that they create to know that my sentiment's going to be lined up perfectly. A little bit of a cheat, right? But so worth it. As long as you have your cross stitches across the top, you can see that my X's across the top there, I just have the bottom half and it's straight across. Then I can follow the X's here across the bottom line. And then my happy and then hello, I can do the same thing with. And this is kind of tacking down my loose wings, but I feel like it's okay. I have a little bit of still that movement in the other areas. Happy hello there. I do think I had it scooched in on my original. I think I like that better. Let's scooch that in. There we go. All right, let's clean up a little bit and then let's spill some tea. And I have all those extra sentiments for creating another card. And again, here's how this one opens. That's a little bit different than my original. So you just need 2 of the 5 by 3 3/4. And then this piece here is just a Cookie Monster card base top folded, cut at 2 1/8. So you get 2, so you can create 2 different cards. So there you go. I can't wait to see what you guys do with, not a bird fan, but love butterflies. That's good, Sarah. So let me spill some tea. Next week's release is something that if you did Stamp Joy Virtual in the spring, you've seen before, but for everyone else, it's going to be new and I am in love. So I own it, but I hope you guys join Taylor on Tuesday at 10 a.m. to see the new release. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for the sweet comments about my cards. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend.